Well, hello and welcome along to another episode of Business Unlocked. Today, I'm joined by long-term business person, expert and friend, Katie Crismale-Marshall, who is the owner of Profit First for Tradies, the CEO and owner of Profit First Australia and New Zealand, and she's done many other things in her life. So looking forward to her insights and messages for us to help us grow our businesses. Katie, welcome along.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you along. Katie's a bit of a dynamo out there. She sets her sights on things and just makes them happen. What a wonderful way to be, hopefully. I've seen so many changes in your business and what you do in life and what you've helped other people do out there in the business world. So the purpose of this podcast is to share messages, lessons, things you've learnt in business from being a business owner yourself, as well as your expertise as a consultant coach to people out there in business. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what's your first lesson?
So, my first lesson is never say never because I was never going to work for myself. I could not have been more adamant that that was never going to happen because my parents had a business for my entire childhood. And whilst we had a great childhood, it wasn't as great as it potentially could have been because my parents were always working and consumed by their business through no fault of their own, but that is what business was and is like for many. And so I
Yes.
was never going to do that. And then once I did, I decided that I was never going to be like everybody else and I was never going to struggle like everyone else did. And then a couple of years in, I did. And what I
Awesome.
realized was, even though I had a financial background, I was a financial planner for many, many years prior, um, that doesn't always translate. So, my biggest, I guess, my first lesson about that never say never is to also never think that you're alone and that you're the only person going through whatever it is you're going through in business, even when it looks like everybody else is doing so much better. We've seen behind the scenes of many businesses over the years to know that that's not the case. So that would be my biggest and probably most important lesson.
Yeah. So everything might look good from the outside for other people, but it's not always the way. The grass is always greener. I saw a great one on that, which was the grass might look greener, but maybe you just need to water your own a bit more. Yeah. So did that strike you in a particular way, Katie?
Yeah, for me, it really just highlighted, like, even your introduction of me just then, that I have done a lot of amazing things. There is always struggles in that. And I never want
Yeah.
anyone to look at anything that I have done and think that they can't do it or, for whatever reason, it's out of reach for them. The way I'm able to do things, and even I feel like I haven't done enough. I haven't helped enough small business owners. Like, there's
Yes.
so much more to do. Um, the biggest part of that and how I am able to do so many different things is because I have a great community around me, like yourself, Marcus, and that I will now put my hand up much, much quicker when I know things are not going the way they potentially should be. Um, and also, I'm very big on let's just have a crack. Let's give it a
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
See if it works, if it doesn't, let's learn and then let's improve, which has been a practice over time. Early on in my business, I was much, much more cautious, I guess, and I would wait a long time to do things and often at my own cost because
Yes.
we would wait too long, which is something else I see so many businesses do. I'll do this when this thing happens.
Yeah. So have you
Into
seen, like, because I've come across with that with clients, I've certainly come across that in my own life as well. But with clients when they're waiting to carry out that an execution join something, like I have it when clients join me. One in particular, they waited 6 months after I sat down with them, husband and wife. The wife was all keen to go. Husband was a bit hesitant. Well, I just want to do this and this and this. And then they came back and he was like, oh, I should have done this 6 months ago when we sat down.
Yes, and that is now what I say to anyone I have a chat with who's thinking about working with me. I'm like, I want you to have all your questions answered so you can make a decision, but I want like a yes, I'm in, or a no, I'm out. If you're
Yeah.
not sure, you've got more questions, let's answer them, because I absolutely hate that exact same thing, because it has happens over the years where they hesitate and then they come back down the track and they're in a far worse position than what they were when we first had that conversation. And that, whilst I can still help them, and I always joke that I love a mess, that's super fun and exciting for me, not so great for the business owner because they're usually quite stressed. And
Yeah.
so now for me, as when I'm talking to potential clients, I'm much more firm on that. I'm like, are you in? Or you out, or if you're not sure, let's work on the not sure. And it's okay if it's a no, but I want it to be a no for specific reasons. And then you can go and fix those. I need to do this before, and it's really clear what they can do. Because I just don't love it when small business owners are struggling, usually in silence.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a big lesson there for the business owners that we work with as well, though, because I view that. I say, so stay tuned for that lesson coming up. I say that my definition of a salesperson is professionally helping people to make the best decision about the best product or service for their needs. So
Mm.
when I meet with someone, I view my role there is to help them make that decision. So letting them go without a decision, and I get sometimes there's the version of I have to think about it, but it's like, is that their hesitancy, them being fearful or whatever, have I actually help them if they haven't made a decision? So if we transfer that to the tradie, to anyone out there selling, and again, I understand that some things take forever to for a decision to be made. If you're dealing, I used to deal with mines and big companies, and it goes through many layers. It can take 18 months in a sales process. I get that, but for a lot of the businesses that we deal with, helping people make a decision is actually a thing that they need to take on board. That's their job, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. For me, if we talk purely if I'm in a sales role, if we want to
Yeah.
label it as that, as you say, my job is to help them make a decision, and that may be working with me, and it may not be. And if it's not, I will absolutely tell them and help them get clear on what their problem is they actually need solved, and then also give them suggestions on where to next.
Yes.
Rather than, no, you're not for me, thanks anyway. I still see that as my responsibility to help them take that next step, even though it's not going to be working with me. But that's super important to me. That's one of my things that I always want to do is help anyone I talk to be able to ask better questions so they can get the
Yes.
results they need. If that's with me, amazing. If it's not, also amazing. And as long
Yes.
as I can help them take that next step, then it will just be, it just helps business owners in so
Yeah.
many ways.
Yeah, and you don't want to take them into your business, like having a client that doesn't particularly suit you. We've all had times where we've done the thing for money, I'm sure, but I'm a big believer I'm a big believer that impacts your business negatively, and you can get into that trap of just having the wrong clients. And the reality of that is you're not serving them particularly well either. There's someone better for them.
Absolutely. And that's where I came to as well in my business, in my first business, which is my bookkeeping business, was that I fell into I will be different, and then I wasn't. And part
Yes.
of that was that I was working with the wrong types of clients, the types of clients
Okay.
that I didn't particularly love working with. And
Yep.
as you say, they wouldn't have got the best because I wasn't enjoying it. And so to just be aware of that and be really clear on who do you really enjoy working with, and find more of those people, because that makes
Yes.
a huge difference.
Yeah. I'll just point out there, you mentioned bookkeeping because you also have a bookkeeping practice called Efficient Tradie. Yes, as well
Yes.
as Profit First for Tradies, which is helping business owners, particularly in the trade space, improve their business and grow their business, be more profitable, have a better life, as well as Profit First Australia.
Yes,
But
correct.
just because you have so much spare time.
And the thing is, it is not for everybody to have multiple businesses,
Yes.
but my brain works and loves systems and processes. So whilst I have three different businesses, the systems and processes that I run in each business are very, very similar. I'm not reinventing the wheel every
Yep.
time. And again, that just comes with time and practice and making plenty of mistakes along the way. And
But it also comes with an attitude to business of because you're not actually splitting yourself up to do all the work in every business, are you? That's
no,
not your role.
no, I'm a terrible bookkeeper. Terrible. It's, it's not, that's not my skill set. I can do it. I'm not great at it. I don't love it, but I've hired incredible team who
Yes.
love that work and they're exceptional at it. My job is to chat with the clients, work out what they need, what's broken, and work out a plan to fix it, and then my team fix it.
Yes.
Because that's their specialty, not
And you've
mine,
got
and I
that
think
that
that's really key.
you've got that job as the leader to have a happy team, I take it as well.
Yeah, that's my main, and my team know that in any of my businesses, they are. I will not take any potential clients being not anything but 100% polite and respectful to my team.
Yes.
And that is my non negotiable. I understand
Yes.
people have a bad day, and sometimes you may send an email, it may have not quite the right tone. And my team know that I'm to be alerted straight away, and I will ring that client and just say, hey, what's going on? Often
Yes.
it is not us, they're just having a bad day. But that is my non negotiable, one of my non negotiables. You
Yeah.
treat my team with respect at all times.
Yes. And then they hang around, your team hang around. So I mean, that's again a really important message for people out there. You don't have to do everything yourself.
No.
You've got plenty of team around you now in the other businesses, and look after them. They're expensive to replace is one thing, but I think that my attitude to team is like my customers, my clients. I'm here to help them have the best life that they can as well. And I think it's the true version of Zig Ziglar's help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. Because my focus isn't actually on how do I get what I want by doing the right thing by them. It's how do I help these people in life? One of my friend who people might have heard on the podcast, Ignatius Mendonça, his whole mission is to positively impact the life of everybody he comes in contact with.
Mm.
It sounds similar to you. I mean, what I see of you and your businesses and the community you have at Profit First, that certainly seems to be the case as well.
It's I had my fair share of time working for bosses who were average or less than average, and
Hmm.
that wasn't an amazing experience for me. And I never want that for my team. And if
Yep.
they are happy and if they have amazing clients to work with and they love coming to work, then that makes me happy. Then that gives me more energy as well to be able to do more things and just help more people.
Yep.
It's not always roses and sunshine, of course.
Yeah.
But for the most part, particularly when I have a new team member come on, particularly in the bookkeeping business, quite often they will say, oh, I know you said you'd stick up for us if a client was rude, but we didn't expect you to,
Oh,
which
okay.
bothers me because clearly they've had situations in the workforce where they've had a boss or a leader who has said that they would support them and then hasn't. And
Yes.
so I never want any of my team to feel like they're not supported. And if I can support them, they can then support my clients. They're happier with their families, the community, and it just has that ripple on effect. And like you mentioned, it's just being able to have that impact with people that I will never meet.
Yes, and ultimately that feeds back to you and you don't have to worry about the team. You don't have to worry about how they're treating your clients. You don't have to, you know they're getting the job done. So ultimately it makes life easier for you, doesn't it?
Exactly. And I always talk about I just want things to be fun. I want to have fun
Yes.
in everything I do. And again, I know it's not always fun, but for the most part, it's like, what do we need to do to make sure that it feels like a fun environment, a fun workplace, a fun business, a fun community? And that's what we focus on. Is it fun or not?
But
If it's
fun
not,
doesn't have to mean that you're having a carnival every day, does it?
no, no, we're not having carnivals. We are not having parties. We're not having any of those things. For me, fun is when you get up in the morning and know that you're going into your office or wherever you're going, that you're like excited to get up and go. Like
Hmm.
that's fun. If you get up and are like, oh, I don't feel like it today, I've got this appointment or this meeting, and I'm like, that doesn't feel very fun to me. And that's what it's that feeling of happy to go and do what you get to do every day. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's certainly, there's no carnivals and balloons and lunchtime parties. We all work remotely anyway, but yes, fun is just
Every now
wanting
and again we might
more
have
of
some
what you do.
balloons. Yeah. So now I'm going to sort of come to a dead stop and restart you again. Is there a particular change that takes place in business? So from your own experience in business or working with people as you do, is there one particular change that you've seen make the most difference or is the most common change when you start working with people that really drives that business, transforms that business?
The most common change for me is when I see that the business owner realizes there's a better way than how they were doing it, and that
Okay.
all of a sudden they can see that change is possible in a positive light, and that they have people who are going to support them in that change, because change is hard for anyone. Um, and the fact that we have more technology than ever before, yet there are still so many business owners who are doing it the long way, the hard way, the manual way. And when I can show them how the smallest changes can make such a big difference, um, that's what I love most, just to be able to see that change in them. I can have a client that I'm working with, I'll open Zoom one day and I can see their whole, just the whole way they hold their body has changed because it's finally clicked for them what we've been working on. It's finally they're starting to get that traction. So I think just the possibility that if you work for yourself, it doesn't have to be a hard slog every single day from now until retirement. And I just wished we could get that message out to more small business owners sooner, that it can be easier than what many of them are doing it at the moment.
Yeah. Is there something in particular that brings about that realization, or it's different for everyone?
I think it's different. I think it's different for everyone, but also the same for the clients I work with. They know that it isn't quite working. They don't know what isn't quite working, but they put their hand up and they search for somebody who can help, and they take that often uncomfortable step of having a conversation with somebody like us and being willing to share that their business isn't doing so well. Um, and they all take a different time frame for it to kind of click. Um, but I think the biggest thing is that, yeah, they just have that like, this, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do business like this for the next 10, 20, however many years.
Yes, and as you said, that can be a hard realization because you keep going away thinking. It's I suppose another aspect of the grass is greener. Look at that. Their life is that you keep grinding away, doing what you're doing, thinking that's the way it's meant to be. So that the ideas that I don't like from people is business is hard. Well, it is, but it's not. It's it shouldn't be that hard. It should be enjoyable. I hate the idea from people about it's okay that the business isn't making a profit. It takes a couple of years. You go, no, that's a different sort of business. That's, venture capital and all that sort of stuff. It's not your small business. You should be making a profit every single day in that business. Yeah,
I
interesting.
talk
So,
about this all the time with clients when they come on board. The the stories that we're told as business owners that you won't make a profit in the first 3 years. It's got to be hard. You're going to have cash flow problems. You're going to have problems with team. You're going to have all of these struggles, and absolutely you can. And also, you can do things to not have any of those. And again,
yeah.
it's not perfect 100% of the time, but that first, that you won't make any money in the first few years is one of my biggest.
Well, yeah, I think it comes from, I don't know whether it's watching Hollywood movies or again, general accounting, the way they go about it. And I say to people, well, no, there's different things like, Amazon not making a profit, Uber not making a profit, but there's money coming into that business. It's just the way they structure things. So it's a
And
different story. You've still got to have that cash come in, and you should be making. If you're not making a profit in small business, there's something wrong.
exactly. And those larger corporations, they may be choosing to not make a profit
Absolutely.
for whatever reason, but they've still had a conscious, planned out decision to do that. It's not because they're just letting things go and seeing what happens, which I think is what happens with small business owners. They're often not supported and have heard these stories and go, oh, yep, I'm not making a profit. This is how it's meant to be. And their situation is very different to bigger corporations and so on who are doing it
Yes.
very strategically for a specific reason.
And they're playing a long game and getting in more capital to increase the size of the business because they're looking at that. But in 10 years' time, it's going to be worth $100 million or something. It's not about feeding the family today.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the capital pays for all of that. Anyway, that's great. So we've got a few lessons in there. Don't think that the grass is greener on the other side. Make sure that you're looking after your team. They'll look after you if you do that, but have that space right. Help people make the best choice. So don't be afraid to say no to a client or a prospect and help them find the right person for their job. You'll all be better off
Yes.
in the long run. Be prepared to make a change. Big one. Yep.
Most importantly, yes.
Yeah. Awesome. So you can find Katie on her own podcast, Profit First for Tradies. Lots of tips and tricks along the way, some from yourself as well as from some guests every now and again to help people out along the way. You can also find Katie at profitfirstfortradies.com.au and book an appointment with her to have a chat about what she does and if she can help you. So, Katie, thanks very much for coming along today. Really enjoyed having you here. It's lovely to have you on, and I look forward to having you on again in the future.
My pleasure. Thank you, Marcus.
Bye.